What's going on, everyone? So if you've been watching the channel for the past couple of weeks, you might have seen something like this pop up in a lot of my videos. Han Solo has been an extremely powerful leader, and this archetype, this more mid-range ramp style, has been an absolute powerhouse that I've had to go up against numerous times, and I wanted to show you my take on the Han Solo ramp list. So without further ado, guys, let's talk about Han Solo. And if you want to pick up any of these cards that I'm going to mention or any other set 2 or set 1 cards, I have a TCG player link in the description down below. If you use it, it helps me out as well as helps you out. Han Solo. So why are we using Han Solo in the first place? Isn't he more of an aggressive leader? Yes, he is a leader that puts you in a more aggressive state, which is you're able to exhaust his leader and play a unit from your hand costing 1 less and dealing 2 damage to it as a result. You can play this, as I said, more aggressively by playing a bunch of 1-drops and maybe going 1-drop, 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 or 1-drop, 2-drop, or playing a 3-drop on turn 1 and just beating down your opponent. You could also go, what we're going to be doing today is just using this as a guaranteed ramp. Playing your Crate Dragons or your Reinforcement Walkers for 1 less doesn't actually do anything when you're dealing 2 damage to it. The 1 less is huge. The downside is almost negligible. You're basically getting a resupply off your leader permanently while not having really any downside. Having a 10-8 Crate Dragon versus a 10-10 Crate Dragon isn't usually the game breaker or isn't usually big enough for your opponent to kind of take advantage of. So we're using Han Solo as sort of a resupply. He does flip for 5 resources as a 3/6, and you can use this action as many times in a turn, which is kind of relevant. The reason why the flip is necessary is the fact that we want to use it to defend ourselves or maybe claim some bounties that we do have in the deck. But that's pretty much it. Otherwise, we just care about getting some big stuff down early and then leveraging that to a very solid win. As such, what are we running alongside him? Well, we have a few earlier plays that you might be used to, and some coming from set 2, such as Reckless Gunslinger, Battlefield Marine, Sabine Wren, Consortium Star Viper, Sundari Peacekeeper, Echo, and Modded Cohort, all of which kind of just are there to either restore, maybe do some side ramping in Echo's case, or just trade off with early units. So we have high quality 2-drops, high quality 3-drops, and high quality 4-drops, right? Modded Cohort acts as a removal card. Star Viper and Sundari Peacekeeper can be 2-drops as well. So we essentially have 12 in the deck, and they just kind of give us ways to restore and survive. And then we look at our sort of top end cards. We have things like Traitorous, Marauder, Poe Dameron, U-Wing Reinforcement, Home 1, Reinforcement Walker, and Crate Dragon. Now, Traitorous, Marauder, and Poe Dameron, these are kind of just options that we have to play a little bit earlier to stabilize potentially, while also being individual threats of themselves. Like Poe Dameron is a card that you kind of have to deal with, typically speaking, and Marauder actually can act as ramp for us as well. Our haymakers are truly the Reinforcement Walker and Crate Dragon. Reinforcement Walker allows us to draw in additional cards, which we will be doing frequently, or just allow us to get out of danger spots where we're really high on damage on our base. And Crate Dragon is the final finisher of the deck most frequently. And then U-Wing Reinforcement, we don't have too many of them, and we don't really rely on events/upgrades too much because we actually can't use Han Solo's action with them. So while U-Wing Reinforcement can be good and will come into play sometimes, we want to rely on Reinforcement Walker and Crate Dragons normally. Outside of that, what are we doing to kind of get there, right? What are we doing in terms of ramp? Well, we have 3 copies of Resupply that you might be used to. We have 3 copies of Super Laser Technician that you might be used to. Now, Super Laser Technician normally isn't that great in heroism decks, right? Because it costs 5. Well, in Han Solo, it costs 4, and it instantly defeats itself if you were to use the action off Han Solo. So you're guaranteed to kind of get the value out of it rather than it getting traitorous away or some other random thing happening to it. Alongside that, we have a bunch of units that are trading off early. We are also running 3 copies of Spark of Hope to kind of trade off a unit and then ramp. In some cases, you can go turn 1 Reckless Gunslinger plus Spark of Hope, so you ramp on turn 1. We also have 2 copies of Price on Your Head. There's only 2 here instead of the full 3 of, because there are some games where this is just pretty mediocre because we don't have units that we are interested in trading off, or we're ramping too hard where Price on Your Head doesn't actually do too much, but it also gives us another form of sort of turn 1 ramp if we choose to do so. And then lastly, we have 3 copies of Timely Intervention. This is just a really nice way to get extra value out of our resource pile, because we're going to have the resources to ECL out things like Podameron or Echo or Sundari Peacekeeper at the later stages. And that's also why we're running ECL in of itself, because we're going to be able to ECL out Podameron, Marauders, Consortium, Star Vipers, and the like to just keep the board clear in the early stages. So with all of that said, guys, let's start to dive into some games and see if we can see the power of Krayt Dragons and Han Solo Ramp. All right, our first game looks to be against Mandalorian Blue, or I should say Bo-Katan Blue, but like Mandalorians in red and blue. That's what I should actually say. And this looks like a completely fine hand. I'm not going to mulligan this. We get to go turn 1 Battlefield Marine, turn 2 Resupply, turn 3 Super Laser, or turn 3 Traitorous. The question is, do I want to keep this Super Laser, or do I just want to keep the Podameron? I think in this spot, because we have the Resupply and because we have some really nice 5-drops, I actually just want to resource this Super Laser tech, because there's a good chance that, and this is exactly what I was kind of hoping for, that they're going to play some sort of Mandalorian that wants an upgrade. This is a very common thing you see, because there are things like Mandalorian armor and things like, well, basically a ton of different options to upgrade units and have like upgrades like Mandalorian Warrior and that type of stuff across the whole game. So it's very, very common for you to see sort of upgrades being placed on Mandalorian units. And that's why I wanted to keep Traitorous around, because I figured it would be very, very good in this matchup. Here we get to go ahead and resource probably the Sundari Peacekeeper. I'm probably just going to go ahead and Traitorous away the Follower of the Way and just yoink it. That puts us in a really nice spot. Traitorsing away the Follower of the Way just puts so much pressure on our opponent. Heck, here we can just go ahead and kill their Follower of the Way, which prevents them from upgrading anything or getting any value. And now I feel like the game is just over. Like, I don't even know if they could do anything here. This is why I've had a lot of people say, why are you putting Traitors in your deck? This is why. It is something that I have just tuned a lot of my lists because of how frequent so many different decks are relying on the fact that, well, they're trying to upgrade something, or not even necessarily upgrade something, but just get some sort of value off of their units, maybe experience, whatever it is, and Traitors just becomes so powerful. Here, I'm just going to ECL out Podameron, and we're going to go ahead and not discard, don't defeat an upgrade, don't need to defeat upgrades, don't need to make them discard, just kill their unit, hit their base, and we are really set up here. I could have deployed Han last turn, and I maybe should have. I'm going to deploy him this turn and just get in. I didn't really see a reason to, and we drew double Podameron. I'm going to go on and resource one of them, because I think I'd rather have the resupply just in case we get like a timely intervention plus Krayt Dragon situation going on. But this game is over. Like, I don't know what they could have here in any scope of the imagination, because this is just like an absolute nightmare for them. So here, what we could do is like, hey, I'm going to hit Bo-Katan so she can't, Darksaber or whatever, which is a reasonable thing to do and probably the safest thing to do. So we're just going to not take any chances, and we're just going to go ahead and discard a Podameron to deal 2 more to Bo-Katan, and we're just going to prevent them from getting any sort of value off Bo-Katan. There's a Fen Rao. They're going to put an Electro Staff on it, and it looks like they're going to probably kill off one of my Battlefield Marines, which is totally fine. Let's go ahead and play a Ewing Reinforcement just to see what we end up getting. There's an Echo and double Star Viper. I think I'm just going to go double Star Viper here, go into space, and now we have 6 damage on ground, and we have 6 damage in space. So that was really quite nice, and we're going to pass, and, well, I don't really see this game going anywhere for our opponent. Here, they're going to have to start trading with units if they want to, so I think Spark of Hope actually looks better. Oh, wow, they're going to go Concord Dawn Interceptors, huh? Let's just go ahead and attack for 3 with the Follower of the Way. They're going to Darksaber up the Fen Rao. That should give -2, -2. So I'm not going to attack with that just because I'm trying to kind of be a little bit honest here. Now it's looking a little bit scary. We're going to play the modded cohort here. And then we're going to claim initiative. A little bit scary, I will say. Why did they get an experience? Oh, this one's a Mandalorian unit. Nice. Little bit scary because we are threatened by this Fenn Rau. It's a big unit for sure. Of course, we have a lot of outs here. Reckless Gunslinger being one of them. Resupply looking reasonable. Echo looks kind of okay. I think I actually just want to get rid of the resupply in this spot. And I'll probably just get down a Reinforcement Walker. I could have played a Reinforcement Walker as well. But I was kind of hoping in this spot to just go ahead and get it down afterwards, and so that we can actually potentially trade with Fenn Rau. I went ahead and... Oh, they're going to play Devotion. Let's go ahead and just claim initiative. I went ahead and played out the Reinforcement Walk rather than taking initiative because there's a very good chance that they have some sort of something going on there where they're going to be able to heal or deal with my modded cohort. So I have 2 threats on the ground to actually finish out the game. They have a Clan Ren Rescuer, but none of this actually matters here. We're just able to win the game, and it looks like that we are. They ended up doing some pretty nice work with their absolute fat Fenn Rau, especially since we haven't drawn a Krayt Dragon at all. We've been through half of our deck and no Krayt Dragon. Is a little bit unfortunate, but that's how the game goes, and we were able to finish it out. So pretty close one, and let's move on to a next matchup. And we find ourselves against a Ray Red deck in the second match, and I am not going to mulligan this. This is a reasonable hand. We get to go turn 1 Sundari Peacekeeper, turn 2 potentially modded cohort. I think in this spot we could get rid of the Marauder. Turn 1 Sundari Peacekeeper is really solid. Do I want to get rid of the Super Laser Tech or the modded cohort? I think in this spot I actually do want to get rid of the Marauder. I think that's totally fine. Let's go ahead and play a Sundari Peacekeeper. Let's see if they decide to Tarkin Town it. That'd be totally fine if they decide to Tarkin Town my Sundari Peacekeeper. That's a resupply. That's actually a really nice draw. And I'm just going to go ahead and take advantage of that. I'm going to start off by hitting their R2, which means that it kind of forces them to either... I guess they could hit back my Sundari Peacekeeper back, but at least it does some damage to R2. Hit the R2, take a couple damage before they put an experience token on R2. We're going to go with the resupply plus potentially modded cohort on the following turn, or Super Laser Tech, just get into this Reinforcement Walker. They're going to go ahead and Tarkin Town it. I think that they should have Tarkin Towned it last turn. If they were going to Tarkin Town, there's no reason to have taken the 3 damage on R2. So I think that was a little bit of a mistake from our opponent, but we got rid of the Tarkin Town, which is something that we do have to pay attention to. So that is nice to see gone. This Ray Red deck is pretty good against us, I will say, because one of the things that we have to worry about realistically is this pillage. Pillage could come down and kind of wreck our day, so we have to be very careful about that. They're going to go ahead and attack our base for 2. What's interesting about this is we can actually ECL out our Super Laser Technician here, and I'm very happy to do that. There's another Reckless Gunslinger. There's a resupply. Let's go ahead and get rid of that Reckless Gunslinger, and I'm just going to ECL out Super Laser Technician. So you can see here, if we didn't have that 3 damage on their R2, we couldn't ECL out Super Laser Technician. We couldn't even play modded cohort and get the R2 killed because of us not having done any damage to it. So the fact that they didn't Tarkin Town on turn 1 and did it on, well, that last turn is really impactful for us. So very happy about that. They're going to pillage, and that is something that we do have to watch out for, as I mentioned. Let's go ahead and flip the Han Solo, and let's just claim initiative. I don't really see a reason not to. And the reason why, well, I guess I should say, the reason why you want to claim initiative instead of taking damage here is if they have another pillage, and I were to draw 2 cards and resource one of them here, I will not be able to play anything if they pillage. And that's a pretty big downside, especially since Ray is going to come down, not the next turn, but the turn after. So pillage gets increasingly less valuable as the game goes on. And what I really want to do is get down this Reinforcement Walker if I can. Granted, if they have a pillage, I can't really do much about that, but at least we can get down another play. You know, maybe like a Traitorous with stealing Concord Dawn Interceptors is totally fine. But basically, there are a lot of different things that I would like to get down. Let's go ahead and resource this Echo, and I'm just going to start off by maraudering the Concordon Interceptors and getting it off the battlefield so they can't grow it anyway, or get some value going in any way. And ideally, again, they don't have a pillage, but if they do, they get rid of my Reinforcement Walker, and it's not the end of the world. So let's go ahead and just, ambush. Don't get an extra resource. If we happen to have one of the other cards available to us on the battlefield, then we could have done something with a ramp. If we had like another modded cohort or a Sundari Peacekeeper, could have been interesting, but we don't, so no worries there. Let's see what they have, or let's see what they're going to name with Regional Governor. Crate Dragon. So they're going to name Crate Dragon. I'm going to go ahead and attack the Regional Governor. The reason I'm doing this is they have 3 resources, so if they do nothing and just claim initiative, then I'm pretty much okay with that. And if they end up putting an experience token on Regional Governor, my Han would have taken extra 2 damage anyways, and I do need to get rid of Regional Governor at some point in order to play my Crate Dragon, so I think that is pretty relevant. Next turn, we're definitely going to resource something and just get down a Reinforcement Walker, which is going to be pretty important. So hopefully our opponent decides to make a play before next year. Let's claim initiative. They're going to activate Rain, put an experience token on Regional Governor. And once we get a Reinforcement Walker down, I am feeling much happier about this game. And the reason being is Pillage doesn't really do a whole lot when you're drawing multiple cards in a turn. And here, I'm actually not going to draw a modded cohort. Again, the reason being, I would rather gain the 3 HP, and if they have a Pillage, we're kind of just playing around Pillage at this point, and that is going to be pretty important. Don't want to give them any extra value that we, can avoid, and modded cohort isn't like exceptionally useful right now, and we can just get it off the deck anyways, so that's going to be pretty impactful. Here, let's go ahead and attack. Let's just go ahead and kill the Regional Governor, get that off the battlefield. And if they want to go ahead and play something else, then that's fine as well. We're going to claim initiative. Let's see what they decide to do here with Rey. Let's see if they decide to attack Han and kill him. It'd be a pretty reasonable play, or if they give an experience token to R2, that would also be pretty reasonable. What are you going on, opponent? Okay, they're going to give an experience token to R2, attack my base for 2. So then we kill Obi-Wan and they give 2 experience to Rey, which is not terrible. They're going to attack my base. Okay, that's fine. Yeah, get some value going for sure. Price in your head looking pretty weak here. I'm just going to start off by hitting Obi-Wan and seeing where the game goes from there. We're going to draw home 1. That is a pretty nice draw. Home 1 gives us the option to potentially play a modded cohort, right? Because it's a heroism unit, and ambushing Rey. We can play a Sundari Peacekeeper for free, all of which are very good options. We also have Traitorous in our hand, which ends up being an exceptional play as well. If we steal an R2, that's like a 3/6. If they attack with Rey, it becomes a 3/6, so that's important as well. Reinforcement Walker is going to help us out a lot here for sure. They're going to attack our base. Okay. We're going to probably just Traitorous plus Echo. I actually just prefer Traitorous Echo because we do have the ability to keep Han Solo and R2 alive at this point, which is really nice. They're going to play a secondary Obi-Wan. Okay. Let's go ahead and attack Obi-Wan. We'll put the Consortium Star Viper on the bottom. They're going to get a lot of value. Obi-Wan's really, really good in this spot for sure. So them having Obi-Wan ends up being pretty nice for them. Let's go ahead and kill Obi-Wan. They can get their Rey some experience. And then we're going to play an Echo, no discard, and then we'll pass. Timely Intervention can go ahead in the resource pile. That just kind of does nothing right now. And we are drawing a little bit poorly here. And they're drawing pretty reasonably, as them having, double Obi-Wan plus the Pillage ends up being pretty good. The Obi-Wan is the critical part to this, and we still have yet to draw a Crate Dragon. And I did say I was going to resource this Time Intervention, but I actually think it's better not to. Again, playing around pillage. It's going to be really important to play around pillage, because if we get our home one discarded, we're going to be so much further behind here. Okay, they're going to go ahead and defeat my Traitorous here, which is totally fine. I'm going to go ahead and attack their Ray here. And I would like to draw Podameron. It seems a little bit odd to, you know, get rid of one of our more powerful threats on the board, but we just have to get rid of the Ray leader. And as soon as we do, we are massively, massively ahead. So we're going to kill Ray here. And now they can't just give continuous value for their units. We're going to go ahead and probably just play this home one and then ambush the ambush. Do I want to ambush? Let's see, if I pay one cheaper, I can get back an Echo. No, I think we just want a home one, modded cohort, ambush, kill R2. And now, I mean, we just restored one. We have home one on the battlefield. They're going to pillage, and look at that. That's exactly why I kept all the cards in my hand. We're going to hit their base here instead of killing the disabling Fang Fighter. Fang Fighter no longer matters because we have the Restorer here going on, and we have board presence. And we also have a Podameron here, which is going to be pretty nice. Yet again, I am going to avoid resourcing. Pillage is something that we do have to play around continuously. So we're not going to resource anything yet. We have yet to draw a Krayt Dragon in either one of these games. They're going to Rivals Fall. That is totally fine. Let's go ahead and hit their base for 4. We are definitely the aggressor here. Yep, they're going to hit our units for 3. They're going to trade with the Marauder. Makes sense. Let's go ahead and play out all of our units and pass. Don't have to resource anything yet again. Ended up drawing some really nice ones, but we have a massive board presence at this point. Oh, they're undoing their last action. All right, well, I mean, they can change how they resource. That's fine. Reasonable. Let's see what they've got here. They've got to have something good. Can't just be like Obi-Wan. Obi-Wan with Rey on the battlefield is quite good. But Obi-Wan without Rey on the battlefield doesn't really matter. We're just going to kill it. And at this point, I mean, I don't really see them getting out of this. There's a pillage. So they've played all 3 pillages. So they've drawn basically what they want in this matchup. They want to have Obi-Wans when Rey comes down. They want to have pillages for our cards in hand, because we are the sort of ramp deck. So we only have so many threats to deploy. But it doesn't even matter. It just straight up doesn't matter. Like, we can draw pretty mediocrely or pretty mediocre cards in a lot of the stages and still win, just because our threat density is just so much higher than theirs, and we were able to win the game. So pretty nice matchup, and it's pretty funny that they went through triple Obi-Wan, triple pillage. I suppose we ended up going through what, triple resupply, and what was it, just triple resupply, I think, is the only thing that we ended up getting a playset of. That's pretty funny, actually. Yeah, we ended up getting there, and one of these days we'll find a Krayt Dragon, and we'll win that way. All right, and for game number 3, we're against Double Red Kylo. This is a pretty good hand. I'm definitely not mulliganing it. The question is, do I want to play Price on Your Head turn 1 on whatever unit they play and rely on an ECL'd out Sundari Peacekeeper, or just play the Sundari Peacekeeper on turn 1? So I think what puts me over the edge on Price on Your Head is they have Tarkin Town. So if I were to go Sundari Peacekeeper turn 1, there's a good chance that they'll just straight up kill it immediately with Tarkin Town. This way, I get to go Price on Your Head, ECO guarantee that I'm going to kill their unit, and then I avoid a lot of damage, and then they're going to probably be able to go ahead and just Tarkin Town whatever they want anyways. Here, I'm going to go ahead and get rid of Echo. Modded Core is going to be a really nice ambusher. If they discard a card to Death Star Stormtrooper, also very okay with that. Definitely not an issue here at all. Let's just go ahead and Sundari Peacekeeper, ambush the Death Star Stormtrooper, and boom, we've already healed 2. So them attacking first didn't really do too much. That is kind of where we want to be. Next turn, we get to go ahead and get Han Solo out and potentially play a Marauder or a modded cohort. So I am very much liking our spot here. We're going to claim initiative. If they don't Tarkin Town this, I think that's going to be a major mistake. I think they're kind of forced to Tarkin Town this. We really, or they really cannot afford us, just restoring to every single turn. And next turn, we can just straight up kill their Bo-Katan, which is going to be like nightmare scenario for them. They're going to Daring Raid it instead, it looks like. I think, again, that they should have used Tarkin Town. I think that that's pretty brutal for them. By not using the Tarkin Town, they are really opening themselves up for kind of just a really bad time, to be honest, because now Daring Raid can't go face. We're going to go ahead and kill their Bo-Katan with Han Solo. Yeah, they can get in for 3 damage, but we're going to just keep the board clear, and then we're going to keep up Modded Cohort and Marauder. I can even time the intervention out Sabine Wren, but I'm very likely to go ahead and resource this time intervention and then use it a little bit later on. I'm going to discard a card. Let's see if it's a silencer or what it actually is. It's a detention block rescue. All right, well, I mean, this is like ideal circumstance for us. They get rid of a card, we kill their unit, we've taken basically 0 damage, and now we get to Modded Cohort their Kylo Ren. My goodness, this is like absolute devastation. Once again, part of the reason why I think that they should have used Tarkin Town just immediately is like their window is closing. Like they no longer have kind of options anymore, which is pretty brutal for them. We're going to claim initiative. And our opponent, I suppose, can hope that they have something good. But, I mean, Disabling Fangfighter looking pretty weak here. Very, very weak here. We could have even played Sabine Wren, to be honest. But I don't think that was really necessary. We have a Krayt Dragon, a Star Viper. We just resource the time intervention here. And I think we just go with the Marauder. And probably play a Sabine Wren afterwards. Yeah, let's just Marauder. Let's ambush. Kill their Disabling Fangfighter. I mean, if the game's not over already, I mean, I don't know what else to say. Like, this is just a complete, absolute devastation. We're going to play a Sabine Wren, deal some damage to it. Just want to get this on the battlefield, so if they go ahead and do anything else, we're going to have options. We can go ahead and resource this timely intervention yet again. We can ECL out essentially a Consortium Star Viper if we wish to do so. Now their only options really are to like get in for 2 damage. Like I just don't see how they're really going to do any work here. Ruthless Raider, I suppose, gets in some damage. Here I'm just going to go ahead and timely intervention out a Consortium Star Viper. Kill their TIE Fighter. And I should have attacked for 3, I think, last turn with Han Solo if I didn't. But that's okay. We missed it out on it. Modded Cohort. Well, we can play a Krayt Dragon this turn. So that's what we're going to do. We're just going to drop a Krayt Dragon on their face. Probably resource the Super Laser Tech because it's getting less and less valuable as the game goes on. But they try to take initiative. I mean, Ruthless Raider is fine. Like, I just don't think this is how you really want to build Double Red Kylo. You don't really want to be playing Ruthless Raider and Detention Block Rescue. You want to go all in, and it feels like their deck is a little bit all over the place. Ooh, here we go. We get to go ahead and play a Krayt Dragon. And now, like, anything that they play, we get to deal damage to their base, and we just get to straight up kind of just kill them. Like, I don't really see any way they're coming back from this. The first 2 games, we didn't have a Krayt Dragon, and then, of course, against Kylo Red, we're playing our Krayt Dragon, so kind of funny there, but hey, I mean, that's, how it works. They're going to arm to the teeth. We're going to deal 2 damage to Tarkin Town, and then we're just going to start off by hitting their base for 3. They can go ahead and do all this nonsense by, like, getting us for 8, but, like, we just attack with Han and Sabine and then kill them with Krayt Dragon, so we literally kill them in 3 attacks. So they can attack us for 8. We attack back for 3. They play Kylo Ren Silencer. We attack them for 3. We're at 14 damage. They are at, well, a lot. What are they doing? Oh, they're playing a second arm to the teeth. Okay, we will just attack. And then now Krayt Dragon just straight up kills them. Arm to the teeth is fine. I don't mind a card or 2 of this. But, I mean, attacking for 10 is just... We have a Krayt Dragon. And they're at 16 HP. There's nothing that they can do here. They're at 0 resources. They can take initiative, but that seems pretty weak as well because then we're at 3 HP or 3 damage on our base and we just win the game. This game's over. I don't know why our opponent's kind of taking a ton of time here. claim initiative, and then we'll hit them with Krayt Dragon. Hit them with the Krayt Dragon eventually when our opponent decides to resource. Boom. Awesome. GG. That was pretty straightforward. We really didn't have any issues there. I think the big decision point that they had was potentially Tarkin Towning the Sundari Peacekeeper beforehand instead of daring raiding it. But that was really the only decision they had. I think the ECL with the Sundari Peacekeeper alongside Price on your head on turn 1 ended up working out excellently. Other than that, let's move on to the next game. All right, and on to the next game against an Aphra Blue deck. This is not a deck that I've really found myself fighting basically ever. I'm going to go and resource this Reckless Gunslinger and the modded cohort because I'm going to go and play a turn 1 Peacekeeper. Now, with this Aphra Blue, usually what people are playing is like a more controlling style of deck, and what they're trying to do is like loop restocks with the Aphra Mill and do nonsense like that. I've seen it in play. I don't think it's particularly strong, especially since the kind of name of the game with a lot of this stuff is, well, you're trying not to die. And, well, you can't really do that all that well with Aphra. So we're just going to go and attack for 3. Let's see if they decide to draw a card with Pershing. And, of course, if they do, well, we just get to kill Pershing. Whoops. That's not what I wanted to do. We wanted to play out a modded cohort here and then ambush. And boom, this was like a really nice turn 1, turn 2, 3 power unit on turn 1, kill their Dr. Pershing, and have a 4 power unit on turn 2. I didn't even have to spend ECL, right? Like, this is one of the best curves that we could have. It's one of the reasons why I do not like Dr. Pershing. It just kind of dies. Cloud Rider comes in, probably kills off the modded cohort. I'm a little bit surprised that they decided to kill off the Sundari Peacekeeper. Marauder coming in. I think we resource, actually, the Marauder, because we're going to play a Super Laser Technician here. And it's going to get killed. We're going to go ahead and deploy Han and then attack for 3. They're going to make an opening here. We're going to play a Super Laser Tech. And then we're going to attack with Han. Get in for some damage. And then we have double Krayt Dragon in hand, which is kind of where we want to be. There's a Marauder. Happy with a Marauder. Just going to drop the Marauder in. And the Krayt Dragon is kind of how you finish the game, of course, against these controlling decks. We'll see if they have something like a Power of the Dark Side. Wouldn't be surprised if they have something like that and are able to kill something here. They've had some really nice, they have had a really nice recovery for them. You know, they were able to go ahead and, wait, what? Oh. I guess I hit resolve. Anyways, I was gonna say they have a really good cut recovery. They were able to make an opening by modded cohort, which gained them a life. They had a Cloud Rider, essentially removal, which is really nice. And so they were able to kind of do some nice work. Enticing Reward. Ooh, kind of cool. They're able to go ahead and get some value going here. We get to deal 1 damage to something to put into play something, which is going to be pretty nice here. Probably just put into play this Home 1, honestly, because then we can get back a Sundari Peacekeeper. Get back a Sundari Peacekeeper. And now they're going to probably just go ahead and Frozen and Carbonite the Home 1. But that's going to be okay because, I mean, look at this hand. Triple Krayt Dragon. This is going to be nasty. Nasty, nasty, nasty business. They can keep playing cards. If they don't have an answer for every single one of these Krayt Dragons and Reinforcement Walkers, they are going to be in massive, massive trouble. We're going to resource that Consortium Star Viper. They're going to start off with, looks like Takedown. Okay, reasonable. And now they're going to have to use a Power of the Dark Side, I suppose, on the Sundari Peacekeeper. If they do so, I am very tempted to just get down this, oh, they're going to play a Dr. Aphra. Okay. They're going to kill the Sundari Peacekeeper so that they can go ahead and use their Power of the Dark Side on something else, potentially. They're going to get Fennec Shand. Okay, let's go ahead and just play the Reinforcement Walker, and I will draw a card here. Claim initiative. They're going to go ahead and play a Power of the Dark Side. Pretty straightforward. Frozen and Carbonite, huh? Okay. Let's go ahead and resource probably the Sundari Peacekeeper. And look at this. We get to go Crate Dragon if we want to. I think I just play a Crate Dragon and see what they have against a Crate Dragon. I could go ECL out of Poe Dameron to defeat the Frozen and Carbonite and hit their base for 2, which is interesting to me. But now if they go like Super Laser Blast, we hit them for 8, which is pretty miserable. We're just going to claim initiative. There's nothing else for us to do. They have to have a way to deal with Crate Dragon. They need like a Rival's Fall, Fell the Dragon. Power of the Dark Side doesn't do it because they've Frozen and Carbonated the Reinforcement Walker. Part of the reason why I don't like those 2 cards in the same deck. But look at that. Super Laser Blast is pretty bad for them because we are going to get down an additional Crate Dragon. And we're just going to keep on with this Crate Dragon beatdown pretty much every single turn. And we're just going to keep hitting them. This is the reason why control decks really struggle. As I said, this Aphra deck's trying to restock loop, but you can't really be doing that when your opponent's ramping into Crate Dragons or just killing you in the first few turns of the game. I feel like we're pretty ahead here, and we haven't even had like the absolute best draw. There are some we have a solid curve, you know, turn 1, turn 2, but they also had the make and openings for, you know, the heal. They had the Rival's Fall, and they just conceded because they don't even have a way out of this, I guess. And we had another Crate Dragon and a Poe Dameron and a Marauder. We even had a Reckless Gunslinger from our resource pile. And one of the other reasons why I don't like Aphra, they're actually going to mill out before us. Yes, they could be playing Vigilances, but the Vigilances don't even hit anything. So they could potentially mill us out. And again, they're playing restock, so there's a good chance that they're just going to restock loop if they don't mill it out in the initial phases or the initial kind of turns of the game. But yeah, not a huge fan of Dr. Aphra Blue. It was kind of fun to seeing it, but it felt like this game was like a no contest. Like I drew my Crate Dragons, I played Crate Dragons, I won the game. Of course, we drew a little bit better at the end of, or drew a little bit better for the end of the game with the triple Crate Dragon draw, of course. But even if we didn't have like the triple Crate Dragon, we had like one or even just a second one like we do here, kind of ends the game. But even just one, we followed it up with Marauder and Poe Dameron. And that's a pretty tough thing to swing back from. And then, of course, we have that resource pile. So lots of options and a pretty solid game from us. On to our next game against Boba Red. And this one's going to be pretty interesting. This one's more of like a burnless, sort of like using triple Dark Raid and such. So I think I want to resource this Crate Dragon and resource this Spark of Hope. We have a really nice turn 1, turn 2 here. We go turn 1 Sundari Peacekeeper, turn 2 play Echo, discard the Sundari Peacekeeper, give 2 experience tokens to Sundari Peacekeeper, which is really, really strong. And unless they have like a Waylay or something, we're going to essentially have a 3/5, which turns into a 5/5 on attacks with Restore 2. So that's going to be really oppressive. And then Echo also has Restore 2. And of course, we're just playing above curve in each of those turns, which is really, really strong. I resource the Spark of Hope, even though it could be potentially nice, is basically because we have our turn 1 and turn 2 play set, and Spark of Hope doesn't look to be particularly interesting for us in any of those turns. Crate Dragon also is a little bit too expensive for us, so I think that we can kind of just get rid of it for now. They claimed initiative. That's a little bit surprising. Them not having a turn 1 play in Boba Red is pretty bad for them. If they go like turn 2 Waylay here, I am like extremely happy. Let's go to resource one of these Reinforcement Walkers. We now have Marauder to follow up, but they need something pretty good. If they go like triple Dark Raid here, not scared at all. This is, again, a burn matchup usually. That's how I built it, and that's how I've seen a lot of other people build it. And I think that's how you should build Boba Red, but no turn 1 play is like absolutely miserable. Like, I mean, look at this. We're going to play an Echo. We're going to discard Sundari Peacekeeper, give 2 experience tokens to our Sundari Peacekeeper, and that's going to just be like absolutely brutal for them. Because now, yeah, they could sit there and lurking TIE Phantom away, but we're not fighting against control decks these days. Like, we're not fighting against Power of the Dark Side decks usually. So having a 4/2 flyer that's immune to, you know, a bunch of random nonsense isn't like insane for the meta right now. So I'm really not too worried about what's going on over there. We can even deploy Han here with this resupply, which is really, really sweet. We're just going to get in with Sundari Peacekeeper, attack for 5 here. We're going to attack for 4 with Echo as well, and it's going to be Restore 2, essentially that they've done no damage to us. TIE Advanced, yeah, they probably should have TIE Advanced first, but that's okay. Let's resupply, let's deploy Han, let's attack, And let's pass. I mean, look at this. We are so massively far ahead. We can even get down Marauder and a Sabine Wren. This is going to be really just crazy for us here. Heck, we just kill their Lurking TIE Phantom this turn with our Marauder. I mean, we have a very aggressive curve this game, and we have some really nice top end. Like, sure, go ahead and get rid of my Sundari Peacekeeper. Like, being able to waylay there is really not concerning at all. Let's go ahead and just attack for 4. Let's go ahead and play a Sundari Peacekeeper. Let's go ahead and play a Sabine Wren. I'm a little bit surprised that they went ahead and played Twin Pod Cloud Car in their deck, but okay. That is pretty funny. I assume they're going to go ahead and hit one of our units here. Probably Echo, if I had to guess. Really want to get Echo off the board so I'm not restoring a million every single turn. And here we have the modded cohort, which looks pretty good. I think we just go ahead and get rid of Echo. And we just start off by killing their Boba Fett so that they can't do some crazy, like, a bunch of additional resources play here. Just make it very, very, like, unlosable, right? That's the goal. Okay, we have 6 damage on their base, so if they don't have an answer for this Marauder, we win the game. We can even put the Sundari Peacekeeper into play. I think that's going to be the play. Oop. Put the Sundari Peacekeeper into play as a resource, kill the Twin Pod Cloud Car. And now, I mean, they need something in the ground in order to not die this turn. We could even kill the Lurking TIE Phantom turns ago. It really wasn't that big of a concern. Let's go ahead and attack for 3, and then Sabine's going to finish it off. They can have an answer for Sabine, but if they do, it's got to probably be a Sentinel. Otherwise, it's going to be really quite doomed. Not sure what they're doing there, but that is game. Frozen and Carbonite, not really that strong. Yeah. Twin Pod Cloud Car is a little bit strange in this deck, I will say. I did not expect that one. Overall, it was pretty much what I expected, though. TIE Advance, Lurking TIE Phantom, Boba Red, vehicles, pretty standard stuff. And very, very good hand that we had. They even have the Waylay, which some decks play, some decks don't. I'm not a huge fan of Waylay, just because if you're trying to be hyper aggressive here, you don't really need it, but it ended up working out really well for them, and it at least allowed them to survive enough so that they can do something. But that was a really nice showing. On to the next one. Looks like the next matchup is against Thrawn Blue. A pretty interesting little control list that I'm generally fighting. Similar to the Aphra Blue list, except in this one, the Thrawn ability is a lot more relevant because they can definitely prevent you from getting in a lot of damage, which is quite nice. I assume that we're going to be playing. Nice, we can. Yeah, it looks like a fine hand. Nothing too crazy. Kind of have a similar curve as last time. I'm going to go ahead and resource probably... Do I want to resource this Poe Dameron? I'm tempted to because I want the Reinforcement Walker and I want the Super Laser Tech. Yeah, I think that's totally fine. So I'm going to go ahead and go turn 1 Sundari Peacekeeper. We'll see if they have like a Cloud Rider. That's kind of like the best play that they could have on turn 1 if they have it. Cloud Rider. They could also just like take initiative potentially, and they're going to Entrenched. All right. If that's what they're going to go with, then I am fine with that. Ewing Reinforcements, Poe Dameron. I think I do resource the Poe Dameron. Might be a little bit awkward because I could defeat the Entrenched, but I actually don't care about defeating the Entrenched realistically at all. I only really care about just putting in a bunch of permanents into play and having threats and then ramping. So I want the Super Laser Tech and I want the Echo on this turn so that I can actually get down the threat. Even though it's not an impressive one, at least it gets in for some damage. And now Entrenched, by them going Entrenched on turn 1, it turns off any power of the Dark Signs. And if they go double Entrenched, like that's also fine, I suppose. Definitely a play for sure. Here we can go ahead and resource the Sabine, and I'm just going to kill off my Super Laser Tech and deploy Han. The problem with Entrenched here this early, and the way they've done it, is we're going to have so many units on this side of the battlefield to the point where it's kind of difficult to do anything as our opponents. Like, if you wanted to get down any card, it's going to be pretty brutal. They're going to go search your feelings here. Probably search up like a super laser blast is what my guess would be. Let's go ahead and get down Han and just get in for some damage. Really, this guy is just going to be here to get in some damage, and deploying him as early as possible is going to get the most damage, generally speaking, especially in a spot where, we have double entrenched on our units. They can't actually activate the Thrawn, like, because they have to have a resource, so I don't think they realize that, but no, they can't exhaust. You need resources. Don't think our opponent realizes that. They'll figure it out eventually. Okay, they claim initiative. Cool. Let's attack and let's pass. Price on your head plus another Krayt Dragon. Really unimpressive draws for the middle, early to mid game here. We're going to have to heavily rely on these Krayt Dragons and Ewing reinforcements to kind of close out the game for us, for sure. Let's see what they've got, though. I think we have a good chance in this game. Might seem like a little bit odd here, but I think getting down like Krayt Dragon after Krayt Dragon is going to be pretty good. They can Avenger, and if they get down an Avenger and they just start attacking here, that could be pretty bad for us, for sure. They're going to reveal and evacuate. Huh. Kind of strange. Let's go ahead and just play out a Reckless Gunslinger here. And do we smuggle anything useful here? We smuggled a Spark of Hope, so no other Reckless Gunslinger or Timely Intervention or anything like that. Let's see if they decide to get Thrawn down. They're going to Cloud Rider, kill my Gunslinger. They definitely have to kill something. So they're ambushing something here. I don't think Han is really that important here. Okay. We're going to resource this Reckless Gunslinger. Let's just go ahead and attack with Han to start us off. And then let's go ahead and just attack with Reckless Gunslinger afterwards. Let's just start off with attacking. Them bouncing everything is probably pretty good for us. I mean, not like good for us, but it's like reasonable for us because we're going to get Han here and he's going to be totally fine. And then all of our units that can't even attack are going to be fine as well. Let's just go ahead and play a Ewing reinforcement here. And let's go ahead and get... Let's go ahead and get a Super Laser Technician and a modded cohort. And they have Evacuate here again. So they could like pass here and evacuate. They're going to top target here. All right, let's claim initiative. Probably going to have something to kill the Han Solo. That's fine. They're going to heal some damage. Top target ended up, getting in some massive heals there. Pretty sweet. Let's see. Thrawn's going to come down. Sure. Not really worried about that. Thrawn's going to be dead here in just a moment. And it's like my Krayt Dragons and Reinforcement Walkers versus their Super Laser Blasts and all the above kind of deal. They have healed a lot and they have Search Your Feelings, or they had Search Your Feelings. So that's going to be something that they do have to kind of pay attention to, or we have to pay attention to rather. Let's go ahead and resource this Battlefield Marine. And in this spot, I'm just going to kill their Thrawn with my Echo because I don't want them, exhausting any of my units. Super Laser Tech, gonna be good later on, but definitely something that I would like to die, to be honest. Let's just go ahead and kill the Thrawn so they can't exhaust a couple units. My guess is that they're just gonna play an Evacuate here or something like that. They played a Vigilance. All right, I mean, Vigilance does some stuff. Vigilance is what? Gonna kill my modded cohort? They can't even kill modded cohort. They can't even kill anything, really. Bounty Hunter crew? Bring back what? Search Your Feelings. Okay. Or Search Your Feelings for like a Super Laser Blast or something like that. Let's just go ahead and hit their Bounty Hunter crew with the Sundari Peacekeeper. hit their base for 2, play a Reinforcement Walker, and I will draw a card, and then let's pass. Price in your head looking pretty mediocre here, but I suppose I'll just resource this. No, actually, I'll resource the price in your head. I don't think it's going to do anything. Here comes a Super Laser Blast. It's almost assured. Be very surprised if they don't have a Super Laser Blast in this spot. They have Search Your Feelings twice. Or Search Your Feelings twice. Frozen in Carbonite, huh? All right. Let's just go ahead and attack for 2. The thing with these upgrades is like, yeah, you have the upgrades. At this point, you should just... That's the third Search Your Feelings. Oh, no, that's the second one. No, was it the third one? Oh, maybe it was just the second one. I actually can't remember now. But the thing with these, like, these upgrades is like, sure, they have... I'm going to pass here because they're going to have Super Laser Blast. They have a bunch of stuff controlled, but they need a Super Laser Blast in order to kind of make Avenger and things like that actually even do anything. So I am waiting for the Super Laser Blast. It's going to come eventually. I'm just waiting for it. And in the meantime, I am just going to go ahead and just deploy enough threats to put in a little bit of damage. And then I'm just going to use the Crate Dragons to try to win the game, right? That's kind of the goal here. I'm just waiting for the Super Laser Blast. Just waiting for that Super Laser Blast. It's going to be a long game, I have a feeling. Here comes the Vigilance. Okay, let's see if they heal and defeat something with 3 or less HP. We're going to mill. Okay, so they're going to go with that plan. Let's just go ahead and play a Crate Dragon here. And now I'm going to force them to Super Laser Blast. Frozen in Carbonite. Okay, let's just go ahead and attack for 2. They have a lot of upgrades for sure. Frozen in Carbonite ends up being pretty reasonable. They're going to take initiative. We're going to pass, and we're going to go ahead and probably resource this Spark of Hope. Having a Crate Dragon with Frozen in Carbonite is a scary thing. That is not a great answer because they've taken 3 damage in order to essentially CC the Crate Dragon, but now they have to take additional damage in order to deal with this Crate Dragon. Like, this is going to get real bad real quickly here. So yeah, we're going to go ahead and just deal 8 to their base. And here, we're just going to go ahead and deploy probably a couple of threats. So we're going to go Star Viper. Let's see what they've got. Waiting for that Super Laser Blast, of course. But you see there, like, why didn't they just Super Laser Blast instead of Frozen and Carboniting my Crate Dragon? Like, we knew that they had it, and they just took additional damage for really no reason. Let's go ahead and put in a resource, and I will not resolve the ambush attack. This is just to get an additional resource into play. And there's our secondary Crate Dragon. I was looking at the mill pile earlier, and they hadn't milled a Crate Dragon, so now we are in a really good spot. They're going to need some good cards here for sure. Vigilance doesn't kill my Marauder, so there's a good chance we can get in for some damage there. Crate Dragon's gonna do some work here, guys. I mean, Crate Dragon's already hit for 8 damage. It's actually hit it for 11 because they played the Frozen and Carbonite, which is a little bit odd. Again, I did not really expect them to do that, but let's go ahead and just play a Crate Dragon. And now if they deal with a Star Viper with a spell, or an event, then they deal with it and they get hit for probably the same amount of damage that they would have otherwise. And if they're going to exhaust my Star Viper, that's also fine. They need to, well, they reveal Bazine. All right, well, that doesn't actually exhaust anything, so we're going to get in for some damage. And I mean, this is the problem with control decks. Again, I said this earlier, but like, when you run up against this matchup, it feels super brutal. And they're saying GG. And this is what I mean. It's like mid-range / ramp decks can super outgrind this like Rivals Fall, Super Laser Blast, Search Your Feelings type deck. It just doesn't really feel good at all. Like, we got like barely any damage to them. We didn't even ramp super hard. We had an okay curve, and then we just drew our Crate Dragons, which, you know, you're usually bound to draw at least 1 to 2. And at this point in the game, and you just play them and you win the game. It's pretty simple. We didn't even need to defeat upgrades or anything like that. I think our opponent really stalled. I think they should have just gotten the Super Laser Blast off a lot earlier because of kind of what it created. No like recurring value. You couldn't use Avenger to control the board, and that's really how you end these games, is you get an Avenger down, and then Krayt Dragon, when it comes down, you can just attack and kill it. You don't actually have to play anything to kill it. But that didn't happen, and we just kind of won the game with a Krayt Dragon. Like, that's just how these games go now. But anyways, on to the next one. Our next game is against Kira Green, a little bit of a mid-range strategy, most likely. No ECL, which means I am significantly less scared of what's going to be going on over there. Ended up mulliganing. Our first hand was pretty mediocre, but this hand also looking kind of whatever. I'm going to go ahead and resource. Actually, hold on. Oops. I didn't mean to resource that. Oh, well. It's fine. We'll just go with what we got here. I didn't mean to resource this one. I meant to resource the Poe Dameron, but I wasn't like thinking properly. It's okay. It's fine. We'll just go ahead and get down this Consortium Star Viper to start us off. And we'll probably just, potentially just play nothing next turn. Hopefully that's not the case, but, we'll see. Claim initiative. Let them go ahead and do whatever they want to do with Kira. Give a shield token. Make it a 3-2. Super Laser Technician looking pretty good here. If we're able to actually get some value going. Modded Cohort also looking pretty good here. I like Modded Cohort. I think in this spot, I'm going to play out the Modded Cohort and not ambush. And if they want to go ahead and trade their shield token for my Modded Cohort, I'm fine with that. They're a Power of the Dark Side. All right, let's attack for 3. Again, Power of the Dark Side. I just don't like this card nearly as much as everyone else does, or seems to like it, to be honest. When you're playing it in these styles of decks, like, it just doesn't do all that much. Resupply looking, well, kind of okay. But so Super Laser Technician, I think I resource one of them. I think in this spot, I actually just want to resource the resupply, or maybe I just resource the Poe. No, because he can be ECL. Maybe I resource the Reinforcement Walker, actually. I think I take it back. I'm going to go ahead and resource this Reinforcement Walker. Let's go ahead and just start off by attacking for 3, healing 2. And then let's see what they end up doing. My guess is that they're probably just going to play a unit and then attack in for some damage. Yep, let's go ahead and play a Super Laser Technician, which is going to allow us to get Han down. And if they want to deal damage to their Super Laser Technician to kill it, then that's fine as well. Let's go ahead and get down Han. Let's go ahead and attack for 3 here. And then we're going to ECL at a Poe Dameron. And we're going to kill Kira and kill the Hylobon Enforcer by discarding this resupply. So pretty straightforward play here. Not really that worried about it at all. Whoops. Let's go ahead and put this Sabine in the resource pile. This is the problem with not having ECL, is like you're open to these types of plays where I ECL at a Poe Dameron and I will hit the Hylobon. I'll discard the Traitorous to kill Kira. And then I will kill their Hylobon Enforcer and draw a card. Like, the game feels really tough to beat now. They revealed 1 card. Wow, that is unfortunate for our opponent. Let's pass. I don't want to actually put this into play. I'd rather just get it from my resource pile. Krayt Dragon, obviously a great draw. We have the Ewing reinforcements in this stage of the game. We have a lot of different options here. Darth Vader coming down. They're going to kill the Poe Dameron. Sure. Doesn't really matter, to be honest. Ooh, they got a Black Sun Starfighter. Nice. Let's go ahead and just Ewing reinforcement. Let's go ahead and get a Poe Dameron in. And I guess a Battlefield Marine. Actually, I like Sabine Wren because I can actually just kill the Vader straight up. Ewing reinforcement. Pretty good card, huh? Let's go ahead and just trade with our Black Sun Starfighter. Let's pass. Resource the resupply. This game feels like it's getting really over really quickly, is my feeling. They're trying to play like Vaders and stuff, and we're gonna start dropping. Oh, they got Overwhelming Barrage. Okay, Overwhelming Barrage does some decent stuff here. Let's go ahead and just trade with their Childson. And then we can just get down a Crate Dragon. So that's what we're going to do. Crate Dragon coming into play. They can go ahead and hit the Crate Dragon with Vader if they want. We're just going to hit them for approximately 1 million. Overwhelming Barrage, pretty good card. They can't Overwhelming Barrage Vader next turn and get rid of it, so they're kind of in trouble. Okay, they're going to just hit the Crate Dragon. Oof. That is pretty brutal from them. We're going to get in for 10, and they're conceding. Okay. So if they had Power of the Dark Side, they could have claimed initiative and kill my Crate Dragon for 3 damage, essentially. But then that puts us in a good position again, because we have so much backup. We have the cards from our resource pile. We are just really feeling like we're far, far ahead. Of course, if they start drawing more top end and we start drawing kind of like these middling cards, then that could change. But, I mean, this was pretty straightforward, and that's what it feels like with every game. Is just we get to the Crate Dragon, we place a Crate Dragon, and we win. And that's part of the reason why this deck it performs so well. On to the next match, and probably the last one, another control deck. We're not going to mulligan this. We have a ramp card, we have a 2-drop, we have a 3-drop. I mean, we are pretty much set. Gonna go ahead and resource the Traitorous. The only unit that I am really considering that Iden might have would be something like a Childson, and Traitorous doesn't do anything against that, so we're just gonna go ahead and play an Echo. No discard. Probably take initiative, probably get it killed. Not really concerned about that. That's how these games go. We just need to draw our Crate Dragons. That's like, it's pretty straightforward. They're going to get down a Childson, make it a big boy, 5/5. They have the client. Wait, they revealed 3. So they revealed Childson, the client, and System Patrol Craft. Okay, let's just go ahead and play a Super Laser Tech, and I'll just kill their Childson with my Han and my Echo. It's totally fine. We'll just pass and let the game kind of figure itself out afterwards. Play a make an opening. Sure. Let's just go ahead and play a Marauder. No ambush, nothing like that. And then next turn we get to go home 1 Battlefield Marine. Crate Dragon is in our sights. Let's go ahead and play a home 1. Get back a Battlefield Marine. Claim initiative. Sure. Timely intervention go on the resource pile. Let's go ahead and attack for 7 here. System Patrol Craft, huh? I really like the Timely Intervention plus Crate Dragon in this game. Let's just modded Cohort here and just trade. They're going to play an Embo, huh? I'm a little bit surprised about the Embo. Did not expect to see Embo coming down in this Iden blue deck. Modded Cohort looking meh. Actually, it's better than Super Laser Technician, so I'll resource the Super Laser Technician in this spot. Home 1 is quite good in these controlled matches for sure. It's like a mini U-Ring Reinforcements because it comes down on 7. It's not even necessarily a mini one because you get a 7/5 flyer, and then you usually get like a Battlefield Marine or like a Sundari Peacekeeper or something like that, which is just excellent. Wow, they're going to hit that? We're just going to hit them for 7. They have no answer to this home 1? That feels pretty bad. Oh, they have Vigilance here? That also feels kind of bad, to be honest. Okay. Let's go ahead and hit their base for 3. Childson coming down. We're going to play Crate Dragon. I was going to wait on it to get the 2 resources, but that's going to be not next turn, but the turn after. And I feel like this is a really good turn to get down the Krayt Dragon, especially since we're going to hit them for... Ooh, I do love me some Krayt Dragons, guys. I love Krayt Dragon. I love it. Smack him for 6. How broken is this guy? Like, how broken is Krayt Dragon, huh? We're going to play a second Krayt Dragon. And now if they play anything, we just kill them. Yeah, okay. They can't Super Laser Blast. Our opponent just said, okay. Yeah, I don't know if people don't, like, maybe some people don't know how Krayt Dragon works, but like, you play a control deck, this is what you're going to run up against. Not very rarely, and you're going to be sad. This is part of the reason why I just don't think control can even really do its thing right now, is if Krayt Dragon's going to be one of the best meta cards, its control's going to have such a hard time. Like, you need something great. Like, the best way to deal Krayt Dragon is an Avenger attack. The problem is that if you're playing these really control decks like Vader Blue, Iden Blue, Afra Blue, none of these decks can ramp. You need to be playing more of like a Krennic Green or an Iden Green to compete, because you can have Avenger around the same time that Krayt Dragon can come down, already on the battlefield, and you can control the board a little bit better. The problem with that is that if you're playing Iden Green, you're not going to have like these double blue vigilances for the hyper aggressive decks. There's just too many things to deal with. There might be a control deck as we get deeper into the format and we can figure it out, but right now it is just an absolute nightmare. So let's talk about the final thoughts on this deck and, well, end the video there. So what did we learn from Han Solo Ramp? Well, I played, well, including the games I played on recording, which was, I think, 7. I think we played 7 games. Maybe it was 8. Actually, I'm looking at the recordings now, and it was 8 games, and we won every single one of them, and none of them felt particularly close. Like, none of them were like, oh man, I think I'm gonna lose this. I played another like 25 in testing this and figuring out, okay, do I want to play with, you know, Reckless Gunslinger or an Echoes and Mono Cohorts or Spark of Hopes and this type of stuff? And I lost 1. So between the 8 games that I played on camera and the 25 games that I played off camera, I lost 1 and I won 32. Now that might seem like crazy. Part of it is because people don't know what some of the cards do. Like, our last opponent there ended up playing a Super Laser Blast and a double Krayt Dragon, which ended up just killing them, right? So there's some players that do that. So it's not like a perfect representation. The other part of it is that people are playing random decks and they're testing out fun things, right? The other thing is we've seen a lot of control decks. I've seen a lot of control decks slowly start to pop up a little bit recently. And this is the deck that you're kind of bringing to kill it. Krayt Dragon decks are the bane of your control decks. Like, if your opponent's playing Krayt Dragon and home ones and U-Ring reinforcements, you're going to struggle a lot. And that's what this deck kind of showed. Dr. Afra, we just destroyed. Thrawn, we kind of got there. Iden Blue wasn't even close at the end there. But then you have so much game against the early to mid-game decks with Timely Interventions, Traitoresses, and Sundari Peacekeepers. Those are the key ones. Of the cards that we saw in our deck, I really like the Reckless Gunslingers and the Sabines in order to have early plays or late game plays. In Sabine's case, early, and Reckless Gunslinger late with the Smuggle. The one card that I have continuously played, because it is really powerful when you're able to get it to work, but also really inconsistent, is Spark of Hope. And you saw many times there where I was like, okay, I'm just going to resource this because it's going to prevent me from having a play if I keep it in my hand, and it just didn't line up correctly. I actually don't think that going turn 1 Reckless Gunslinger, Spark of Hope is all that great of a play. Part of it is because you saw many games there where you actually want a very high amount of cards in your hand. Reinforcement Walker helps with that, especially in the more mid-rangey / longer matchups. And in the matchups where you're trying to get down on board quick and kind of compete with your opponent, things like Spark of Hope, Reckless Gunslinger, Reinforcement Walker, Krayt Dragons are not usually relevant. Usually just play your Battlefield Marines, your Sabines, your turn 1 Star Vipers, turn 1 Peacekeepers. You play your turn 2 Cohorts, turn 2 Echoes, turn 3 Poe Damerons. Maybe you put in like a resupply in there to get Han Solo or Traitorous out early. You saw, I think, against was it the Rey deck or was it a Mando deck? I can't remember at this point. I played them over the last like couple hours, but just kind of owns the board. It has so many good matchups, and if you were to add a sideboard to this, you can easily just be like, all right, I'm going to take out things like Price on Your Head and potentially something like, you know, Echo or Traitorous, and I'm going to drop in more home ones and U-Wing reinforcements for your controlling matchups. For the more aggressive matchups, I'll slot out things like, well, potentially Super Laser Technician and Resupplies and Crate Dragons, and I'll drop in more restoring cards and more options to deal with your threats earlier on into the game. Maybe drop in a couple Wreckers. And if we're finding more mid-range decks, well, this deck is kind of built to defeat them. There isn't really much I would want to change. But of course, you know, taking out Spark of Hopes or something like that potentially, if your opponent's also ramping, or Price on Your Heads could also be good. There's a lot of options you could take this deck. It has very good matchups. I haven't really found a deck that has a real good matchup into Han Solo besides like hyper aggressive decks. And even then, it can be hit or miss. Sabine Green does a really good job because it's also using ECL. And I've also had some success with things like Double Red Kylo, where you're Tarkin Towning their Peacekeeper on turn 1 because you just can't have that thing attack or kill a unit. Because remember, you have to think about it this way. If they get a Sundari Peacekeeper down on turn 1, not only does it restore 2, but it also kills a unit, probably like a Death Star Stormtrooper. So potentially net 5, and that's at a base level. It's not even like, potentially you could have done more by discarding cards with Kylo or something. So like that type of scenario is the only way you can really deal with this. And unfortunately, this deck is just really well built if you hate fighting Crate Dragons, and I'm sure you'll see more and more of this. If you wanted to build a deck and bring it to one of the first tournaments without any like pre sort of you know, I guess research or anything like that in terms of what the people are actually running in tournaments, which maybe there's going to be some in the future, I think Han Solo Ramp here is going to be one of your best options. I also think something like Sabine Green, heck, even Boba Yellow, those classics are really good. But of the set 2 decks, Han Solo Green, either this version or the hyper aggressive version is going to get you some wins for sure. So thanks for watching, everyone. Hopefully you enjoyed. I had a lot of fun. These super strong decks, I don't play them all the time because I'm playing around with some random trash in order to find you guys some videos. And then I ended up settling on a good deck that I can showcase. So it's always nice to play a deck that I already consider pretty good. And this might just be the best deck in set 2 right now. So I'll see you all for the next one.